We keep hearing this message everywhere, from self-help books to therapists to drag queens. You have to love yourself first. And that sounds right, but here's what nobody talks about. When you're a gay man who grew up in a world that criminalized your existence, that loving yourself part can feel impossible. Here's what I've discovered after years of challenges loving myself and watching other gay men struggle with this. The whole self-love industry is built on a foundation that doesn't work for us. And that broken foundation, it's why so many of us are stuck in loneliness, accepting crumbs, settling for terrible relationships, or giving up on connection entirely. But here's another way, a way that doesn't require forcing feelings you don't have. It's practical, and it actually works. So today I'm breaking down why traditional self-love fails for older gay men, and I'll be sharing the approach that changed everything for me. The first reason why traditional self-love advice doesn't work for gay men is because it's based on the wrong foundation for us. Most self-help assumes your childhood gave you a strong foundation of worth. Even if your parents weren't perfect, the world around you probably reflected back that people like you could be loved. You saw people like you in happy relationships, successful careers, living normal lives. But if you're over 50, you probably grew up in a world that told you that gay people were sick, sinful, criminal, a world that said we deserved AIDS. We learned to hide not from lack of confidence, but from actual danger. That's decades of training your brain that being yourself is unsafe. So when someone says, just love yourself, your whole body rejects it. It feels fake, even dangerous. Which brings us to the second reason. Throughout the years, we didn't just hide who we were. We created entire separate people. Maybe you had different versions for different spaces. The one who carefully edited stories, the one who changed pronouns, the one who stayed silent when people made jokes, the one who could finally relax around other gay men. Some of us split between family gatherings and chosen families, others between professional spaces and personal ones. Maybe you had one self for your straight friends and another for gay friends, or you kept your whole romantic life in a completely separate box from everything else. These weren't natural variations, they were survival strategies, and after decades of splitting yourself into places, there isn't really one self to love, just fragments that never quite learn to talk to each other. And now for the third reason. We've all heard that advice, look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful. But here's the problem. Every mirror in gay culture is already telling us we're not. Gay culture says we're past our expiration date. Dating apps literally hide us from view. Even supportive friends can slip up with things like, you look good for your age, or don't be picky. And here's what's painful. Even when we find accepting spaces, we don't trust them. After decades of rejection, our brains can't believe positive feedback. Someone compliments us and we think, what do they want? Or they're just being nice. We're trying to build self-love while surrounded by funhouse mirrors. No wonder it feels impossible. Before we continue, I wanted to invite you to my private weekly newsletter, where I share deeper insights on managing gay life at any age. The link to join is in the video description. Now, if traditional self-love keeps failing us, what actually works? If someone handed you a dog to take care of, not to love, just care for, what would you do? You'd make sure it was fed properly, you take it for walks even if you're tired, or you get it medical care when needed. You'd speak to it kindly, not because you're in love with this dog, but because it's your responsibility to care for it. And to do that, to care for that dog, you wouldn't have to first stand there and list the dog's achievements. You wouldn't demand it to be younger or cuter before deserving care. You just care for it. Now here's the shift. What if you approached yourself the same way? Not I must love myself because I'm special, but I'm responsible for taking care of this person. And the reason this changes everything is because care doesn't require feelings, it requires action. You feed yourself properly. You'd say no to people who treat you badly. You rest when you're tired, not because you love yourself in that moment, but because you're responsible for your care. Would you let anyone treat a dog the way you treat yourself? Would you let someone say the cruel things you say to yourself? Probably not. So why is it okay when it's you? This is when everything shifts, including your relationships. When you practice basic care, something shifts. You start recognizing disrespect faster. You understand what decent treatment looks like. You stop accepting crumbs because you finally know what a full meal feels like. You've been assigned one person to look after, yourself. And yeah, he might be older than you planned, more damaged than ideal, but he's yours to care for. And this works even on your worst days, even when you can't stand your reflection. You can still take basic care of something vulnerable that depends on you. And over time, something interesting happens. When you consistently care for something, tenderness develops. Not dramatic self-love, but something quieter, more sustainable, something real. Now tell me in the comments, if you started treating yourself like someone worth caring for today, what would change first? Love you all.